Today I'm in the village of Chagford on the edge of Dartmoor in the county of Devon. This is down in the southwest of the UK, and Dartmoor is a very picturesque area, and Chagford is one of those beautiful little villages that you must see if you come to this area. Now the church here is mostly Victorian rebuilt, but the tower is around 600 years old. It goes back to the 15th century. And the graveyard is absolutely full of the old stones. I'm not sure how many we'll be able to read because they tend to attract the lichen, but it's really a beautiful, peaceful spot. Just inside the gate here we have a war memorial to Private W.G.A. Brock of the Devonshire Regiment, who died just after the war finished. He died in 1920, aged 34. The cross on this one is an unusual design, and the inscription at the bottom: William Henry, Emma Ann, Louisa Sidney, Ernest Richard Berry, sons and daughters of C and M A Hammett. This stone has a decoration on the top. This is to Minnie, the wife of Thomas Woolridge. But I notice a number of these stones have these decorations and they're all different. This one here seems to have a bunch of flowers in the decoration. Nearby we have this design. This one has a cross inside the ark. Really clear inscription on this one. This is Emma Bellamy, 1850, aged 13 years. Susan Bellamy, her sister, 1862, aged 17 years. And their father, George Bellamy, who died aged 86. And beneath that, Mary Bellamy, the mother. Nice clear inscription on this stone. One here beneath the yew tree, Anne, the beloved wife of W. Standlake of Natterdon, who died after long suffering, aged 65. A large memorial here, and at the bottom it names somebody Wright, aged 28 years old, only son of Captain John Wright, 106th Light Infantry, died in 1897, erected by his only sister. The inscription is done differently on this one. Part of the way down, it's like a band wrapped around the main part of the cross, in loving memory of Blanche Ford, 1910. You'd have to move around the side to find out the first name. A large table tomb here, and on the side we see John Lethbridge Dicker of Drewston, who died in 1891, aged 79. Emma, the wife of William Hellier, who died at Forda, Bovey Tracy, 72 years old in 1911. This one here is Emily Elizabeth, the beloved daughter of George and Emma Mortimer, who died at Collyhole Farm in 1894, aged 7 years and 7 months. There's a horizontal monument here, and the inscription is on a scroll, a pillow type scroll. James Collins, who fell asleep in 1890, aged 87, and Elizabeth Collins, his wife, who died in 1893. A pair of good-sized crosses here, and these are to various members of the Hayter-Hames family. Anne Longfield Hayter-Hames. If we go across here, we've got Violet Octavia Hayter-Hames. A large stone here, almost against the church wall. Samuel Lethbridge of Drewston in this parish, 1827, aged 80 years. I'm looking down the graveyard now. You can see the war memorial there with all the poppy rosettes. And then you're looking across the valley, some of the hills here on the edge of Dartmoor and Devon. Very beautiful spot. One here close to the church. The inscription has disappeared under the lichen, but it still retains these rather nice iron railings around the plot. Each churchyard you go to has its own characteristics. The one that strikes me here is the preponderance of crosses. As you go round, these stone crosses are on so many of the graves. Past the war memorial again. I don't know whether you can pick them out. I'll close up a little bit. There are stone crosses on so many of the graves. A very large plot here with a lot of names, but we pick up here two names we've seen already, Lethbridge and Dicker. We're looking down, partway down, Samuel Lethbridge Dicker, Jesse Lethbridge, John Lethbridge Dicker. Clearly two of the prominent families that were in this area, maybe still are. Here's one to John Agate, church bell hanger, died in 1925, aged 61. You wouldn't think that was a full-time job, especially out here in the more quieter parts of Devon. But there he is, church bell hanger. A lovely name here, in loving memory of Obina Mahala, the beloved wife of Albert J.E. Perryman. Obina Mahala. Now the war memorial here says it's in memory of those that died in the two wars, and you have the poppies in remembrance of them, yet the cross itself looks to be a lot older than that. Some of these church crosses date back older than the church itself. Some of them are many hundreds of years old, or even 1,000 years old. And they were erected as a sort of centre point in the village, where the preacher would sometimes preach from, where people would gather for particular announcements, or just to commemorate those who died who had no individual memorial. I'm thinking this is probably a repurposed church cross. If you look at the top part there, it looks as though it's been standing for very many centuries. Now here's a cross to somebody who died in the Second World War. This is George Sumner Ormerod. He died in 1939, and he was of the Royal Munster Fusiliers. And of course the question arises, what was a man who joined an Irish regiment doing in a remote village on the edge of Dartmoor in the UK? There's a story there somewhere. This is a much more modern stone. It's to Alice Macmillan Scott, 1948 to 2010, but it's the other side that's interesting. And this is the reverse. Forever dancing in the golden sun. This is a view from the bottom of the churchyard, looking back up past the cross, the war memorial, to the church itself. This one is to Robert Shaw, Battery Sergeant Major, Royal Artillery, who was killed on duty 1940, aged 33 years. A little epitaph on this one to Edith, with a Y, Edith Marion Minton. She loved the moor and the flowers and all things beautiful. This is rather nice. It's to the memory of Richard Perrott, 1936, age 96, a lifelong resident in Chagford. This stone was erected by an old friend. One here, encased in very high metal railings, large table tomb. There are inscriptions on both sides, but I'm not able to read them. This one nearby is another table tomb, becoming covered by this creeper. On the end it mentions John Turner M.A., Vicar of Hennock. I presume the rest of the inscriptions will be regarding the Turner family. And here up on the bank, and a inscription is here: Wilfred Allen Fleming, MC, Military Cross, Captain of the Devonshire Regiment and RFC, presuming that's the Royal Flying Corps, born 1890, died 1917, killed in action. And another one of these table tombs, this one again encased in very high iron railings, and the inscription, unfortunately, is not easy to read. A chap here who's well out of area, Theodore Wright of Philadelphia, USA, born 41, died 1914. That's 1841. Died 1914. Interesting story there as to how he ended up in this small village of Chagford. This one is to William Jeffrey, Bible Christian Methodist minister for 40 years. And he was the husband of Faith Jeffrey. Very apt name for someone involved in a religion for all their life. And the second of the war graves that we've seen, this is W.J. Pike, Stoker Second Class, Royal Navy, HMS Vivid, 1918, aged 18. Now I believe HMS Vivid was a land-based ship down at Plymouth. I think it's a training base. Anyway, he was just 18 and he gave his life, so we're grateful. Just going to look inside the church. I think it's open, but I won't be able to make any commentary because there are other people there and silence is important, but I'll give you a few shots if possible. There is a memorial here to the men who died from this parish in the First World War. I probably can't capture all the names in this light, but I make it 23 men who gave their lives from this very small parish. I've come back outside the church now and I'm absolutely stunned that there are 23 names who gave their lives in World War I. At the last census, the population of this parish was just 1,500. So many should have died. Anyway, that's Chagford. Beautiful spot here on the edge of Dartmoor. Worth visiting for the graveyard, for the village itself, and for Dartmoor. This is one of the great places to come and see. Till the next time.